move Swiss principles to Moldova,
I also was blessed to be on your trainings.
to travel to these countries and to teach, especially teach entrepreneurs. Count them. There are many thousand companies, or maybe around 500 mentors.
Let's start from your childhood.
I had a lot of problems, no self-confidence, very shy.
How God worked in your life?
We ran bankrupt. We lost everything. And this destroyed our family.
How you choose your disciples?
Wow, if this is true, what you say now, if this is true, I need to have it.
You humbled yourself to go
Yeah.
to accept it.
Yeah, but I would say, no, I needed the money.
See, entrepreneurs sometimes neglect the family. And
I want to have a happy family. I do not want to pay the price, be at home alone, to support him.
I will describe poverty.
This is a way of creativity, how to have an impact in these very poor areas.
Why you don't have in Africa something?
That's a very difficult question.
What is your vision for next stage of your life?
Yes, one country we have in mind.
Mario, we will imagine you are on a conference in an elevator. In the elevator is a president of a country like Moldova, Vietnam, and you had an opportunity of 1 minute to tell him something to this president. What you will tell him? What you will present yourself, or what your message to this president will be?
Oh, that's quite a difficult question. A tough start you have. Actually, probably, if he is a president of a country, I would ask him, do you love your country? What do you do in your country? What do you do for your people? Why do you do it? What are your expectations of your people? Do you have objectives? What kind of objectives? Yes, and how are you? What are your strategies to lead your country, to go together with your people, and to develop your country?
And after your questions, you see he's a little bit not on the more exact path. You see, you can help them, you can help the country, you can help the president maybe.
Yeah.
What you will say to him? How do you can present yourself or help him? How you will say it?
Maybe I could say, I don't want to be proud, but coming from Switzerland, you know, Switzerland is known as one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Why? It's not by accident. There are reasons bringing Switzerland to this point as we are today. And this is not my, it was not just me doing it, most people in Switzerland. It's their mindset, it's their way of developing a country. And today it is possible to analyze principles of success, why they work in Switzerland, and how could we apply the same principles in other countries. And actually, in our organization, we already started this kind of community development in different countries, different cultures. And of course, at the beginning, for me, it was a big question mark. Is it really possible and wise to multiply Swiss principles of success to other countries? Fortunately, I visited these countries then, and I learned much more about the culture. And then I learned, yes, but we have to be careful. First, we have to understand the culture in your country, in different countries, and then we have to think, how could we apply Swiss success stories and Swiss success principles into another culture? Not just move Swiss principles to Moldova as an example, but to adapt to Moldova context, and then we have a huge impact in these countries.
Oh. And how can we find? Now I am a president, and I ask you how we can find somebody to train our people and us. Do you know somebody?
Actually, we have a concept in our organization.
Oh, you have an organization.
Yeah, exactly. And in our organization, we are professional in training this kind of people. And at the beginning, it was us to go 30 years ago. We started to travel to these countries and to teach, especially teach entrepreneurs how to start a business, how to create jobs. And later on, we realized if you really want to grow, we should not anymore send Swiss people to do these trainings, but to train mentors or to train local trainers. Then we had the answers, oh no, we need Swiss experience, we need Swiss professionals, otherwise it will not work in our country. And in the first moment I said, okay, in this case we have to continue. Later on I realized, no, that's not possible. And we tried. And then we realized, no, in these countries, you have very competent people. They are able to do it. That means, and if they do it maybe much better than we do. They know the culture much better. They know the language much better. Everything is much easier. And so we started to train local trainers. And we found to train our training material. We have a concept in training businesses or in training mentorship, many topics. And if the local trainer are trained to multiply, to do these trainings, it's wonderful. They love it. They work for their own country. It's not Switzerland, no, it's their country. They contribute in their country, and it works. They are accepted. And they do not just copy our style, they adapt our teaching style in their own culture.
And how many businesses in these 30 years did you grow?
Actually, when we started 30 years ago, we started in the first country, it was Romania, and there we started with around 30 to maximum 40 businesses a year. Every year, 30 to 40 new businesses. And then we multiplied the system to Kyrgyzstan, to different countries in Central Asia, even to Nepal, to Vietnam. And there we have another situation. Much bigger countries, countries with much more speed. And that's why in this country we speeded up our program. And now I can't count them. There are many thousand companies creating many 10,000 of jobs in these countries. So I cannot count them anymore.
Amazing. Maybe our country should need this program. After the conference, I would like to talk with you about this.
Yeah, please, be free. I'm very open to talk with you.
Great.
It will be a great pleasure.
Thank you for this kind of improvising this discussion with the president. And I hope maybe somebody also will watch, and the countries what need these kind of programs will apply, because yes, countries needs this kind of mentorship and growing the entrepreneurs. Can we go a little bit back in your background and let's start from your childhood. How do you, because you are on a mission, we see impact on this, but how God worked in your life from a kid to go to this path?
This is another very tough question. Actually, when I was a child, I didn't know God. And this was maybe my problem at that time. I was born in a family, with a business family. We had a first business, a very successful business, a second business, and then a third business, the textile business in a village. And what happened? We ran bankrupt.
Bankrupt.
Bankrupt. We lost everything. And we were very poor at that time. And this destroyed our family. No money. Our parents, they had big conflicts because the problem was too big. And as kids, yes, I had a lot of problems. And no self-confidence, very shy, just a lot full of complex. So this was my childhood. So it was
in Switzerland.
In Switzerland. And to be poor in Switzerland is not very nice.
Yes.
And but was my childhood. So it was not very nice start. It was a very difficult time. But then later on, I was nearly 20 years old. Then the big change in my life came. It was I was walking in our city. And then the young group of people with guitars, they were singing songs, Christian songs. I realized I didn't like it very much. Why you do this on the street? I want to go to pass here. And they started, stopped me. And then they asked me a question like, do you know Jesus? This on the street. Yes, of course I know Jesus. I heard about. I didn't ask whether you heard about. I asked, do you know Jesus? Yes, of course. I was in a church and they talked about Jesus. Of course. I didn't ask you whether you are in a church. I asked you, do you know Jesus? And something happened in this moment. I started to think, what's going on here? And I listened to him. And then he said, I could explain you the real Jesus. And so he started to share the gospel with me. And I was open. And after 1 hour explaining, I said, wow, if this is true, what you say now, if this is true, I need to have it. Okay, you can have it. And he invited me to a little tea shop. And there, together we prayed. And I started my life with Jesus. I bought my first Bible. And I got the first order from him, or an advice. He said, okay, now if you have problems, just directly go to Jesus.
And you was in that time poor.
I was very poor. Yeah. And go to Jesus. And then my problem at that time was I was very alone, lonely. And so I said, okay, in this case, I start praying. I started to pray, Jesus, please give me a friend. Somebody, I want to have a friend to share time together. I'm so lonely. What happened? This was in the first year of my university. And in the same week, the friend was here, like an angel. And he came from a family, quite a rich family. They also have been a business family with a big business. And he was very successful. And he were interested in me. And we shared time together. And he had a huge impact in my life. Actually, he became my first mentor.
When you had 20 years?
I was 20. It was 1971.
71.
Yeah, 50 years ago. Okay.
Wow.
And he became to be my mentor. And later on I realized, this was the first answer of God to my prayer. And he taught me so many things. And from that moment, my life changed totally. I could grow. And today, I'm not shy anymore. I am able to stand in front of a big group of people to talk and to teach people, and it's just a pleasure. But until now, with 71 now, I realize, yes, I can do it, but it's not just me doing it. The same Jesus, the same Holy Spirit from 50 years ago is still here, and is Him guiding me, giving me the wisdom, giving me this energy to teach people. And what do I see? I see multiplication. It works, and I see multiplication. Poverty is done.
And this mentor, this friend of you, helped you to start your business, not family one, but your personal business.
Actually, he didn't help me to start my business. He helped me to prepare to be able to start a business later. Actually, he has seen my problems, but he has not only seen my weaknesses, he also has seen the potential in my life. I didn't see this. I see it, but he saw it. And so he started to give me a training. And the training was not psychology. The training was mountain climbing. So he offered me, oh yes, could we go, we will go to a mountain, to climb a mountain. And I said, oh, I'm not a sportive person, I cannot do this. But I wanted to be together with him, so I accepted. And we did the first little exercise in mountain climbing. I did it, but I never forget, after this first exercise, he clapped on my shoulder and he told me, Mario, you have a natural talent for mountain climbing. Actually, I didn't believe it, but on the other hand, it made me a little bit proud and gave me hope, okay, maybe he's right. And what was the result? I wanted to prove him I can do it. And so we started a training for many, many tours. Very small trainings. Training became bigger and bigger, more dangerous. And after many trainings, around 3 years later, together we climbed up the highest mountain in Western Europe, the Mont Blanc.
Wow.
And we stand up on Mont Blanc, and then I remember this moment. I had to say, Mario, not everybody is on Mont Blanc. You are also somebody. It had a huge impact to my self-esteem. And you see, it was not psychology. It was a very practical mentoring, a very practical education in mountain climbing. I had to exercise a lot and to enjoy the mountains and to grow in this love for our mountains, for our nature, and to grow as a person, as a personality.
This was your base for growing like future business and helping others in this direction.
Exactly.
And you want to do the same for others.
Exactly. Later on, I realized that, yes, I am able to climb the mountains, and I am able to be a manager. First, I was in the industry as a manager, and I realized I am able to lead people, to lead big projects, and to be...
What kind of projects?
IT projects. It was at that time, just after my university, the IT was at the very beginning. And I was one of the few people in Switzerland having this education in IT. And I started to introduce computers in big companies. Yeah. And so this was my start. And
you was as a consultant, as a manager?
No, I was a manager. I was hired as a IT, the boss of the IT team in a company. Yeah. Because there have been so few people having this knowledge, because this is old style IT. Today, I'm not anymore a specialist in IT. I had to change then my topics.
And when did you start your business?
And
what kind of business?
Actually, during around 9 years, I was active as manager in different companies, as IT manager, later on as HR manager. There I learned and developed my skills to hire people and to develop people, especially in management positions. And all this together gave me a wonderful base, a wonderful base of knowledge to be a good consultant. And then 9 years after my studies, it was 1990, I started my own company to train people, managers mainly, leaders, and to consult companies in all kind of topics like marketing or strategy, how to develop a strategy which will work for the company in the future. So these have been my main topics. So this was my start to support companies in Switzerland. And then something happened. One of my first, then it was a Christian organization. They actually were active in Eastern Europe a long time before, under the communism time, and then they worked behind the Iron Curtain. It was quite difficult. But then 1990, 1991, the curtain fell, and so they had to change their strategy. Then they realized now we do not have to to smuggle Bibles and doing things like this, but they have seen the poverty in these countries, and they realized, oh, now we should help people to start business, to create jobs. Not just bringing them fish to eat, but to teach them fishing, creating business. This was the new strategy, the new idea. But there was nobody in this organization with a business background which would have been able to do this. But one of my first clients, he had contact to this organization, and he heard about, and he said, about Mario, he is on the market. He just started his business consulting company. Maybe you could ask him. Then I was asked to do a training in Romania. But Romania was not my focus, because my focus was Switzerland and America. Top manager in America and maybe South America. This was my idea, but not East. But I was new on the market. I needed clients, so I accepted. Okay, I will go there, and I prepared my first 2 weeks training in Romania, and I went there. And then it happens, as it happens always. If actually you are called by God to start a new project, I went there. I met people. Then I realized it's much more than business. What we do here is about people, about family. I have seen the poverty. I have seen the opportunities they would have. And so we started the program, and from this moment it was clear.
You humbled yourself to go to Romania first time.
Sorry?
You humbled yourself to go to accept it.
Yeah, but I would say, no, I needed the money.
Okay.
I needed the money because I needed orders. I was new on the market. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I do everything to feed my family. Mm-hmm. And so I did it. It was not actually humbled, but later I realized, no, God opened the door. I said, Mario, this is your way. And out of this program, then we started. And I realized it worked. And then we worked out a concept, not only a few seminars, but a big range of trainings for a long-term project. And it works. And this was started 30 years ago. And still now, our project in Romania continues. And later on, many other people from other countries, they heard about this program, that it works, and they ask, oh, could you also do it the same in Kyrgyzstan? Or could you do this in Vietnam or in Nepal? And now, in all these countries, we have
amazing.
The program. It's the same program, with the same principle, but always adapted to the new culture, to new people, new situation. Mm-hmm. And it works.
Yeah, God's had a plan for you, and trained you in Switzerland to help top managers, and now help other people from other countries who don't have access to this.
Yeah.
I also was blessed to be on your trainings and be influenced on how to organize and lead my business and people. But also I'm very curious about your family when you started the business, because many who watch our interview also maybe in a phase to start or adapt the business. Describe your family, how it was back then. You had kids, you had family. How it was?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I had a wonderful family. I have a wonderful family. Yeah. I was married. We had two small kids, wonderful girls, and we just built a new, very nice house at that time. So it was a very good situation because I was planned to be in Switzerland. But then, of course, this new opportunity, this changed, of course, our life. And then I realized, yes, I want to have I want to do what I teach. I want to do what I teach means I want to be successful in business, but I also want to be successful in family life. I want to have a happy family. I do not want to pay the price for the business with my family. So it was very important to organize and also to have a clear communication with my wife, because there I started to be in Romania first for many weeks a year. And she has to be at home alone.
With kids?
With
How
kids.
Old? How old kids?
At that time, the kids were about 8 and 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 8 and 10. Yeah, and so young kids, school kids, mm-hmm. And yes, for my wife it was difficult to take care for the kids and being alone for one week or 2 weeks, but my wife, actually, she has also a very close relation to Jesus since many years. Before she started before me, and she also felt this is my part. Actually, she did a mission school, so she planned to be a missionary, but then she realized, no, I married, we have children, so I cannot be a missionary. Mario is the missionary now. And I, as Maria, I want to support him. This is my duty. And so she supported me. She took care for the kids in this time. But of course, she had expectations. When you come back, then we need to have a family life. And this was my duty then, yes, to make sure we have time together after my time in these countries. And I also learned very much I had to be careful because it's not possible to be half of the year out of the country, far away from the family. That's not possible. I have to limit this time, and to make it clear, it is just a special number of weeks I go to abroad, and the other time I need to be in Switzerland to have time with my family. The same I did also with my employees then. When they were trainer later on, this was I asked them, you are not allowed to go more than 2 or 3 months a year abroad. The other time you have to have your clients, your jobs in Switzerland to be with your family. So it means, yes, it is important to see this priority of family and also to organize. It needs a lot of organization, clear organization. It needs priority. And if we have it, if we have a good communication, then it is possible to combine these different businesses.
And this is very important because we see entrepreneurs sometimes neglect the family, and you have this example of organized and prioritizing the family. And I'm glad you are a good example for all of us in this direction. We can take a notice. Can you explain why now Romania, you have less training in Romania and more trainings in other countries?
Yes, actually, we also have to analyze the situation in the market where our kind of trainings are needed. And Romania, meanwhile, is an EU country. That means they have access to a lot of professional trainings, so they don't need anymore our training. They have access, they can pay for. So Romania is developed in this sense. In other countries like Nepal or like Uzbekistan maybe, or like Vietnam, they don't have this access to these trainings, especially in the villages, the rural areas. And that's why there is our focus. Our focus in this program is really the poor areas. We don't want to make the rich richer. We want to have an impact in poor areas. And in many countries, the poor areas are in the villages. And many local people, even rich people, they don't care for their own poor people. That's sad, but it is a reality. And that's why this is our focus, to go there and make sure to contribute to the poorest in the countries.
How you describe a poor? In the Bible, apostle says, like, if you have clothes and food, it will be enough. How you describe poverty? What is the level of poverty?
Yeah, very often poor people in our cities, they don't have clothes, or they have very bad clothes. And if you have very bad clothes, then you have a lack of dignity. And this is the problem. And the poor means in this situation, they have no idea how could we buy food tomorrow. They have to survive from one day to the other. This is poverty, is real poverty. It's not just about clothes. They have kids, but they have no hope for the kids. Maybe they have no clothes for the kids to send them to school. They have no money to buy clothes, to have a nice housing, so the housing is wet. And if the house is wet, then people get ill. Yes. And if the people get ill, anyway, they have no income, they cannot work, they have no income, so this is a negative spiral. And in many countries we have this situation. And in this situation, there is no hope, because people do not see a way out of this tragedy. And there is nobody giving them hope. They cannot go out by themselves. They don't see, they don't have a way, and nobody's taking care for them. And this is poverty. And the worst, yes, it is a lack of dignity. And very often, these people, they also have debts, because it's the only way to feed the children. They need money, so they have debts, and they cannot pay back the debts. So it is a very bad, negative spiral. Mm-hmm. And very often, these people, they have no access to education. They cannot go to school. And having no access to education means no hope. They don't see a future. And this is our topic, to identify these people and to give them a new hope. That's why our program developed from a simple business development program, job creating program, to a community development program. That means very often in these villages, we realize it's too early to do business, but we could help these people maybe how to have clean water. Just having clean water, some health issues, medical treatment. Or in Vietnam, we have a cow bank.
What is
a cow bank? You know what is a bank? With money, but the same we do with cows. So in villages, we realized we cannot give money to the people, but what we could do, we give them a calf. Very poor people, they get a calf, and in Vietnam, everything is green, it's very wet and green, so it's no problem to have a calf. Even if you have nearly no land, you can walk with your calf along the street, and the calf can eat, and then the calf grows, and the calf will be a cow, you have milk, and you can use the cow in the rice fields. You can rent it like a machine to go to the rice fields. Then you have a job, you have an income. And then if this cow will give birth to the first new calf, they have to bring us back this new calf. And they are owners of the cow. And so they have a business. So a very simple way. And we have a calf, and this calf we give to somebody else. And they do the same with this calf. So this is a way of creativity, how to have an impact in these very poor areas. And then another topic, of course, in these villages, very often, kindergartens they are in a terrible condition, or primary schools, in a terrible condition. They have no material, very bad rooms, everything is wet. And so what we do, we help them to restore the kindergartens. First, the kindergartens, to make sure the kids have the possibility to be every day a few hours in a nice environment, which is dry and nice. And to the school, we make sure that there are teachers, they get a little salary and they get material to teach the children and to give a structure to children, so to come to school and to be every day to be a few hours in a nice environment. If they go home, at home there is a big mess. But in the school, something is nice. So they train their eyes to see something nice. And this is important for kids. Kids should see, it could be nice. And then step by step, we add other elements, water treatment systems in a village, so they see there is a development in a village. And then, of course, we start businesses to create jobs and generate income. And this is how we help people coming out of this poverty and gain in dignity. That's important for people.
Yes. And you have in Vietnam, this is the biggest country, the biggest projects you have in Vietnam, yes? Or you have in other countries also?
We have many countries, but yes, Vietnam is quite a big country. It's a country with 100 million people, and there are so many remote areas with very poor people. Yes, but Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, these are also quite big countries.
I mean more impact you had.
The most impact, I would say, at the moment we have in Vietnam. Yeah. Because in Vietnam, we also have to understand the Vietnamese culture. And Vietnamese are much faster than Europeans. And if they learn something new, they want to apply very quick. And they want to grow very quick. And in Vietnam, they are also they want to do it by themselves, if possible. So I remember when I taught my lessons, and once I was talking about multiplication, because this is my idea. I want to multiply, to have an impact, to multiply. And I was talking about this, and then one of the participants, after the training, came to me and said, "Oh, I was thinking about your teaching, multiplication. I think in Vietnam we need multiplication because we have poverty so big in so many areas. If we have no multiplication, we cannot succeed. We need multiplication. Could you please train us to be mentors? Not just training business people, but also train us to be business mentors." Wow! For me, this was wonderful.
New idea.
Good idea. And if you ask for, of course, we try. And then we organized the first training. I think there were about 60 participants, 60 new mentors. They came, very interested, and they start, and they go travel maybe 12 hours with a motorbike. They travel to a remote area in a village, very poorly village. They do the training. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be willing to do it, to travel these dangerous streets and everything. But they can do it, and they do it. They invest their time, and they need our knowledge, our material, to go there and train these people in these remote areas. And they come back and report how it works, and it works wonderful. And meanwhile, after maybe 4 or 5 years later, we have maybe around 500 business mentors in Vietnam.
Wow.
Now, we just go to Hanoi or Da Nang, maybe to the big cities. We train the mentors. We give them new motivation. But the mentors, they travel and they go to the remote areas and they do actually the wonderful work of the local trainings, and it works.
And why you don't have in Africa something?
That's a very difficult question and a very difficult topic. You know, when we decide or when we choose a new country, then of course we do not just go there. We analyze many elements, and the legal situation, the culture, the religion. There are many topics we have to analyze. And in Africa, in general, it is the experience of this kind of project is very, very difficult and weak. Very often, most programs in Africa, yes, they work until Western organizations are there. As soon as they stop, everything goes back to the old situation. It is very difficult to have a sustainable project. I do not say it doesn't work, but it is very, very difficult, especially doing business in this culture very often. If you want to do business, you need some money, you need some reserves to invest in machinery and so on. But in Africa, in many countries in Africa, very often if an entrepreneur, if he has some money prepared for the next investment, but in this moment, the mother of his brother, the mother of his wife maybe, she will be ill. And then others are also ill, and all of them, they have to go to the hospital, they need money, and then this is the cultural pressure. If you don't pay, if you have money and if you don't pay, you have a big problem. And then they use the money for these situations, and you cannot continue your business. This is just an example. And actually, a partner organization started 1 or 2 projects in Africa, and they realized, yes, it is really very difficult.
But what countries are you thinking maybe to start next, or you would like to also have on a list?
Mm-hmm. This list, actually, we don't talk about this list normally, because we do not choose the countries where we really are active. But of course, we have a strategy, and our strategy is in the East. And East means, yes, from East Europe until Southeast Asia. This is the main focus. So in all these countries in this area, especially the countries which are not very much developed, all these countries are in our focus. So there are several countries in Central Asia, of course. They are mature. Some are not yet mature, but they are on the way to be mature. So this is our focus is in Central Asia, and then in Southeast Asia, Vietnam. There we are very active now, but already now from Vietnam, also our Vietnamese partners, they go already to Laos, or to Cambodia. This is another focus. But in this situation, it is still difficult for us because some parameters, like political parameters, legal parameters, are not yet ready for a full business development program. But it is already possible to go to the countries and to start with some specific trainings, but most of them are done by our local people from Vietnam. And if you ask me for the future, ideas for the future, maybe yes, one country we have in mind is North Korea.
Wow.
But maybe that's still far away. But we have it in our focus.
For God is nothing impossible.
That's it. That's why we are open. And if if it is ready, God will open a door, and then we will go there. We will go there where He will send us. And if time is ready, and if God sends us, then we will be blessed, and then we will be a blessing for people there. If we decide, if we make a strategy, and we decide which country we want to go, it will be very difficult. That's why That's not our strategy. But we have a focus. We analyze and we watch and what's going on, and we see which countries, like North Korea, could be a huge potential. If we see the poverty in this country, if we see the people, then we could imagine that God one day opens a door in this direction.
Yep. Let's pray for it and hope we'll see amazing thing.
Yeah.
And regarding multiplication and discipleship, how you choose your disciples? You already give your, I don't know, position or organization, leading organization to your disciples, to your multiplier. Yeah. How you choose them?
This is a little bit similar with the countries we choose. Mm-hmm. I do not just choose them. Of course, I have ideas what skills, what qualifications they should have for specific positions. But then it is a lot of prayer, and we wait that God sends us and brings us people. And I'm still surprised, even after 50 years being a Christian and having so much experience with Jesus. But still now, sometimes I'm surprised to see, wow, again, we got the right people. In different countries, God sends us the right people and answers to our prayers with the right qualification. But of course, we have ideas. We know what kind of qualifications we need. But we need God's hand to bring us the right people, and He does. In Switzerland, with our people in Switzerland, and the same in the countries. And for me, as the old generation now, as the father of this project, this is a wonderful feeling to see. Yes, God sends the people, very good people. Most of them, or many of them, they do it much better than I did. That's great to see. Mm-hmm. How the project continues and grows.
Yeah, let's pray it will grow continually, and more lives will be changed in the name of Jesus, and also helping them to grow a business. Yeah. And interesting, business people all about systems, all about things connecting, and you are saying from all your experience, it's not only this, but also praying and guidance from God.
Yeah. So it is.
It is. What is your vision for next stage of your life? What you are planning to do?
Actually, for the next stage, I don't need big plans. I enjoy my life. And now I enjoy the time with Maria, my wife. Together we have our electric bikes. Very often we use them, we travel a lot to the mountains, and we just enjoy. And now, both of us, we are healthy, and we enjoy. Now we have time just to enjoy. From time to time, I travel to the countries, and I give additional trainings, or I act as a speaker in a conference. That's wonderful. I serve like this, then I go home. But at home, I have Maria, and together we enjoy just our health, our country, traveling. Now we enjoy.
Your kids, you said 2 daughters.
Yeah.
What they do?
Both kids are still single, and both kids, they have a very good education, university degrees. One is a software engineer, and she works in software engineering. She is very precise and also an artist. She likes music, and she is in this area. And the other one, she is more the manager type. She works for the government of one of our cantons, and he has to to check the finances in this area. And yeah, so this is their life.
I understand. Did Maria travel with you on these countries you offer speeches?
Yes, Maria visited most of the countries, but just once or twice. It was very important for her to visit the country, especially to meet the people, because she knows I'm traveling, and sometimes at home she does the office, and she has contact by email with all our partners, but she don't know them. And that's why for her it's very important to travel there, to know the faces, to know who is there, and also to know a little bit the country, to see where is Mario, with whom he is working. And this gives her, this is very important for her to know. And, you know, Maria has another very important task. Actually, Maria, she is something like a power station. And, you know, if I travel a lot and if I teach a lot, many hours, it needs a lot of energy. Yes. And that's why I need a power station to give me energy. For speaking 1 week or 2 weeks, this really needs a lot of energy. And Maria is this power station. Together with another woman, they pray, they meet, have meetings, prayer meetings, and they pray for the blessings and for energy, wisdom, for what we do in these countries. And very practically, I feel the impact of their prayers. Yes, I travel. I'm getting tired, very tired, but I get energy. And very often I get wisdom just as a gift. I realized it's a gift. God gives me the right words in the right moment, very often, the words which are needed by the local audience. And to see this and the relation, I do it, I'm here to do the job. Maria is the power station at home, praying to God, moving the hand of God, and God is here giving the blessings and having the impact in so many countries. That's wonderful.
Beautiful team.
Yeah, it's a great team. Yeah, wonderful.
And you wrote a book, 10 Commandments for
Entrepreneurs.
And you right now are writing second book.
Actually, it's finished.
It's finished.
It's finished. It's it's ready to be printed, and we will print it in many languages. In Vietnamese, of course, in Romanian, in Russian, in Nepalese, Uzbek language. So it's prepared to be printed very soon in all these languages.
What's it about? This book?
It's about people. Yeah. First book was about business, how to start business, how to create jobs, how to create income. And now I talk about people, how to prepare yourself to be an outstanding professional. So the topic of the book is my profession. My profession, tailor-made, you know, like a suit. My profession should suit to me. What do I have to do, you know, to choose the right profession and to be the profession which makes me happy, which suits to me, and the profession. What do you have to do in order to be attractive on the market, to get a job, a good paid job? So this is a topic about in this book.
I assume entrepreneurs also will be useful to read this book.
Yes, of course. It's also written for entrepreneurs. And actually, the idea also comes from entrepreneurs because we realized we developed a lot of companies, and many of them are very successful. They created a lot of jobs, and they have a problem. Even in countries with a very high rate of unemployed people, they have a problem to find people, to find good people, people who are fitting in their companies. And so we realized, okay, it's not enough to have a lot of people. No, the people have to be trained and developed the right way. And that's why we developed this program. And the entrepreneurs, they are very happy to see, there is somebody training people the right things, to develop the competencies we really need in our business. And for the employees, of course, it's very important to know, what I learn is exactly what the companies will need and what the companies will pay for, a good salary.
And you have any ideas for future books?
If I ask me about ideas, I always have ideas.
You're a man of ideas.
Exactly, I have so many ideas. But for the moment, this is the topic, and I want to make sure that this book will have a big impact. And now it is the time to distribute this book, and maybe also to travel around and support people using this book also as an instrument. This book is also for teachers, or people who helps people to find their profession, to develop themselves, for trainers, mentors. So there is a lot of work to do now to support them how to use the book with additional material to have a big impact.
Do you plan audio version also?
Not at the moment. But it's if we see time is ready, then of course we will do it very, very soon. We did also an audio version for the first book, The 10 Commandments for Entrepreneurs. Actually, I realized I don't have to plan this, because our partners in these countries, if they use this material, they come immediately. They come up with the new needs. And then especially, again, it always starts in Vietnam now. They are always the first. They will say, we need an audio or videos, and then they just do it. Okay, they just ask the permission, and then, okay, do it, and go for it. And they do it. And then we have audio versions. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And may God lead and help you in the next generation of your disciples. You are growing and helped, and you are started a movement. And I'm glad also to see and be part of this and help others to grow. So may God help you, and thank you for all you do and how God is using you in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a great pleasure.